Happy Wednesday, folks. I recently rewatched all of Game of Thrones. It was my first time watching it all back to back to back because the last time I watched it was this many years between each season, stuff like that. So after House of the Dragon wrapped with the current season, I just needed more in this world, so I went back for it. But needless to say, I'm going to be going into my thoughts on this. There will be spoilers for Game of Thrones. If you haven't watched it, I'll just go ahead and say, watch it. It's one of the best shows out there. Final seasons, you've heard about it, I'm sure, and we're going to get into that too. But I still overall recommend this show. It is very, very good. And it's very easy to like just dump on the final seasons of Game of Thrones, and we'll again get into that. But I do want to just say they're not all bad. There are great things there, like this moment here. A number of others. I do think the battle with the White Walkers and whatnot, I thought that was very, very good. I know there was a lot of things said about the lighting and whatnot, but after rewatching it, I think we were just a little dramatic back then. And I know a lot of people had criticisms about that final battle. Again, I do think it was very, very good, a lot better than you would believe with how much people crapped on it when it came out. As well as like the way it ended. Yeah, it is one episode, and because of that, it does feel somewhat like, oh man, this whole thing built up and is gone. But I do think the worst part of it is that makes it feel like even more a bit rushed is he comes before the final battle with Cersei. I do understand what they were going for and what they did with the Cersei battle and how that all played out, whether I love it or not. But I do feel like because the Night King was such a big threat, he should have been the final boss. I feel like he should have been the final threat. However long the episodes or how many episodes take the battle, I don't know. But it does say something that the shortest season has the two biggest battles. And yeah, I think you feel that. And that does make him feel a little bit less of a threat because he's just the stepping stone that gets us to Cersei after the fact. But again, overall, I do really like where we have the Hound, like where we leave him off, him fighting his brother, the way that whole fight plays out. I love Arya getting to do the whole thing of like what's west of Westeros and just exploring like unexplored areas. That's so cool for her. And I would love a spinoff of that. But again, we'll see. And I do love where we leave Brienne of Tarth, with her being knighted, her filling out the story for Jaime since he has died, and then as we would assume she's going to then start her own story as a knight herself, and we can get her story filled in later. But very, very cool. Love that. The only thing I will say about her, I love her relationship with Jaime. I really, really do. But when they get to the sex part, I do feel like that's a bit forced. I don't know if it's the way it just flowed, the way it was written. I'm not saying that I never believed there were any feelings between the two of them. I don't feel like it necessarily felt organic when it happened in the moment, especially when it like took place after like a gag that Tyrion made, and it seemed like he was just rectifying that as like a favor to her. I don't know. I never thought that they would be in a relationship together, and of course they didn't stay in a relationship together, but it just, I don't know. I don't think she needed that. I was fine with them just being buds, being close, and yeah, that maybe that's just me. But where the final season really gets me, not even just the final season, it's literally the last two. Jon is so strong. Like he's very adamant about not bending the knee to Daenerys. She does have a moment of saving him from certain doom, and that's gonna make anybody obviously feel a certain way, stuff like that. But he then immediately bends the knee, and not only that, he's just like her whelp. He's just immediately, you're my queen, and then like essentially step from that to I love you, and then he learns about them being related, and that doesn't stop the I love you stuff. And it's very interesting how they decided to go about that. There's certain things that I think make sense, of course. And obviously the whole incest thing, we see it all over the place. I mean, I just talked about House of the Dragon, but it's just like, for the Jon Snow I believed I was watching this first, like the majority of the show, this didn't really feel like him, in my opinion. And, dude, and it took him so long to be like, okay, Daenerys can't do this. I got to take her out. And I really feel like he could have come. He's an honorable guy. He's a good guy. He makes the hard decisions, like bringing the wildlings across the wall. Like I just there's just some things I didn't really vibe with him in the end there. But I do love him as a character. I wasn't a big fan of his the first time I watched the show. I really, really liked him here. And the final seasons didn't make me hate him or anything. It's just that didn't feel like my Jon. I also don't love what they do to Bran. Um, Him being nominated as like the king, that's one thing. I guess he just feels kind of like a gag in his own right. They use him for a couple of comedic bits, those last couple of seasons, and they really do utilize his vision just essentially to prepare the army. But I also feel like it was just there to speed things up because again, these last two seasons were shorter than the rest. One season is 7 episodes, one season is 6, I believe, and every other season's 10. And you do feel that less amount of screen time as we are jumping from plot point to plot point to plot point. And like he's an important character. The three-eyed raven thing, I just feel like they don't get into it in as much like fleshed out detail as they could have. And yeah, and then we get to him being the king, and I don't hate that. It's just it didn't feel right when we got there, but all the power to him. And then we got to talk about her. We got to talk about Daenerys, the last big stamp on like, do you like this or not? Overall, I do like her. I will say, I think people saying that her madness came out of nowhere, that's ridiculous. You do see that literally from like the moment she gets the dragons, all the way to the end. The only thing I will say is when we get to the episode where, hey, will you please stop attacking the city if they concede and ring the bells? She's just chilling there. She's perched up on a wall with her dragon. The bells are ringing. People have thrown down their swords. And she really feels like she's struggling with something. Nothing is there to actually set her off. She's not being pushed. She's not being pressed. The camera work there indicates that she knows where Cersei is because it's the tallest building in the keep. And I'm not saying they make eye contact, but the camera sure makes it seem like they're aware of where each other are. Obviously, Cersei can see the dragon, but I'm just saying. And then the city concedes, and she just goes on a rampage. So I'm not saying the madness was never there. It makes sense that she would eventually go mad. It's just there's nothing in that exact moment, unless she just outright lied to Tyrion. That just, like, I don't know why. Oh, they're conceding, I'm so mad. And it just blows everything up in just horrible disarray in the worst cataclysm she's ever caused with everything that she's been on with her journey. And then we just jump from that to her being a tyrannical ruler. It's very fast. Again, the shorter season, the plot point to plot point, just boom, 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 boom. Again, we could have fleshed this out. Hopefully if these books ever get finished, if it does follow the same path, we get some more detail there. Maybe add something that actually triggers her in that last minute. I don't know. But all that being said, this show is, again, so freaking good. I have not read the books. Should have said that at the top here. So I know there's a lot there that is varied. But honestly, the 6 seasons, I was very solidly in that just love the characters. I will say even to the very end, there's not a phoned in performance. Everyone's good. Everyone's great. I'm so enticed by this world. Like, I wish we had a game to hop in for this. But it's so good. And I'm listening to the audiobooks right now, going through the first book right now. And hopefully I'll go through the rest of those. But it's just, I love these characters, these performances, the story. It's dark, it's gritty, but there is a heart to it. There is a whimsy to it, even if it's not like the most magical, like high fantasy thing. There are dragons, but there's only a few left. But I love it. I love the world building, and I just love everything that they have done with this show. And again, the production quality, mwah, everything looks great. Those dragons always look real, and it's insane. A couple of green screen moments that haven't aged well, but overall, so good. But where the show really does shine is when you get these character moments of it's just them. It's not focusing on the overall plot. Yeah, you'll get these little beats of like, this is happening in the war that's impacting everybody. But when you just get character with character, it's so freaking good. And you really feel the passion behind the performances, the writing, and just the overall quality of this show. And I do hope one day we do get the rest of these books. All love to George R.R. Martin, especially with his recent blog post. I do focus on your mental health, man. You live your life. You do you. Fans should come second to that. But it's a world I do want to see more of, and I would love to see a bit more fleshed out things with how the rest of the story progresses and the end in terms of how the books could go. But regardless, I love this series. I love this franchise, this show. I give it an 8.5 out of 10, but still, I love it so much. But let me know what you think. And for more news, reviews, and all things nerdy, please just a like and a follow.